So I am completely useless when it comes to riddles. I've never been able to figure them out or solve them or anything like that. I'm just not good. I can't even come up with a good riddle. But I cannot stop thinking about the Meg's stupid use of anchor into your own knowing. The exact verbiage was something like, I think there's a lot of value when you anchor into your own knowing, then you're telling your own story. And she added that by anchoring into one's knowing, you actually don't need to say anything, you can show who you are. And I got really hung up on that last bit of like, you don't need to say anything, you can show who you are. I was immediately distracted by that because that's the opposite of what Meghan does. Meghan is always running around telling people how to view her, what to think of her, and who she is now. She's always, every single interview, every single time she's being asked any questions or has a microphone or a platform or making a post even on Instagram, it's all about telling us that she's authentic and telling us that she's a Dodgers fan and telling us that she organically shows up completely free of pesticides. It's nonsense. Nobody likes being told what to think. Nobody likes being told how to view somebody. We like to decide that for ourselves. But at the time I was talking about how, Catherine, Princess of Wales, is the one who shows us and doesn't tell us. And Meghan is the one who tells us and doesn't show us. So Meghan is probably trying to be like, no, I also show, not tell. But that's false. She tells us everything and she shows us absolutely nothing. But I think I figured out why. Well, maybe I figured out why part of this phrase has stuck with so many people and had them thinking about it like it's a riddle, because I have still gotten so many comments about this nonsense phrase, this word salad phrase, that doesn't seem to make much sense, especially not the way Meghan said it. And it's coupled with this huge cognitive dissonance to how she actually operates in the world that she would even say such a thing. But it's not just because it was so ridiculous and something a narcissist would totally say that made everybody laugh at the absurdity of her annoying speech, but it's also the fact that part of the imagery of this phrase of anchor into your own knowing, or anchoring into anything really, because part of the imagery that draws up, and the fact that she said anchor into your own knowing rather than just anchor to the truth and the reality that we all live in. Instead, Meghan's like, no, whatever it is that you're thinking and you're believing and you're selling and your version of the truth, which is just, your version of events, your stories and tall tales, that's what you need to anchor into, is your own version of events and your own knowing. And you need to be anchored to that. And I think it kind of has made me start to think that it's maybe more of, I don't know that a slip, but rather maybe perhaps how she's having to cope with the way that she has to live now. Meghan has tied herself inextricably to an imaginary world and an alternate reality through her lies and her fabrications. Ever since she fixed her sights on wooing Harry, she's been wrapped up in her own farce. Copying Diana's pictures, developing a track record of philanthropy work that wasn't actually philanthropy at all, selling a version of herself to Harold that made him think that she would be just like Catherine. Then Meghan's victim narratives that lured Harry into petulance and anger to facilitate leaving the royal family. Then her lies and her fantastical tales in Oprah and Netflix to manipulate her way into contracts and deals, selling concepts that she had no ability to deliver on. All this while having to stand by all the lies that she told. Both the lies that she told to Harry, she has to stand by. And that's, a lot of people have theorized ever since she didn't invite any family members except Doria to the wedding, is that Meghan has sold Harry and the royal family on a completely different reality than what her dad's side of the family knows to be true. And maybe that's part of why she didn't want them there, because she sort of told tall tales about her past. And so even within her own relationship, she's having to uphold all these lies, plus out in the world with strangers that she meets, with media encounters, and with friends that she makes. She still has to uphold these lies and stand by all these lies that she told about what happened when she was with the royal family, having to stand by the lies that she made about her wedding or about Megxit, or who was to blame for certain failures, that people urged her to do this or that. All these lies she's forever chained to, anchored to. if you will. And if she's not tightly anchored to these lies, then everyone will know for sure that she's lied. And she doesn't want that. Her ego doesn't want her to actually be branded a liar. Even narcissists know that it's bad news if you're completely outed as a liar. Like they'll cover their tracks over little things or kind of try to sweep stuff under the rug of things that aren't huge deals, but when it's widespread and it's like, oh dang, you lied about absolutely everything, even a narcissist doesn't want that to happen. Her ego doesn't want her to actually be branded a liar, so she is forever bound to those lies and uphold those lies. Therefore, she must live like it's all true. It's a house of lies that she's built. And that's what she's anchored to. She cannot move on or flow or get a fresh start or really grow because she has built herself a prison of sorts in all these stories and lies and exaggerations and victim narratives that aren't actually true. And so she's the only one who's fully burdened by these lies, but she is also the one who is anchored into this version of reality that she has made up. And she's stuck there and she's anchored into it and she's staying there. And she's begrudgingly having to stand by these stories and lies and tall tales and stuff in this reality that she's built for herself. She owns them now. And it probably is frustrating for her. And that's why she shakes her head no when she's talking about owning your own story and how important it is. And why she shakes her head no when she's talking about truth, because she knows that her truth and her story are not true. And that these interviews that she gets, these people think that they're going to get sensational Oprah-style sound bites out of Meghan, and Meghan knows that she cannot continue to build on those lies. She can't repeat the lies that she told, and now she's stuck. She's trapped by them, and she's anchored to them, unable to move away from them at all. And that's what I think maybe this whole thing is. But leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for joining me for today's short little video. Have a happy day. Bye.